This is Kintsugi, an ancient Japanese technique of repairing broken pots and utensils, especially ceramic ones. It almost looks like an art, almost poetic. But before every repair, something like this happens. Well, okay, not necessarily like that, but something breaks or cracks. And this is basically what we're going to simulate the cracks on an object and then converting it into kintsugi. Cracks on object is really common, especially on things like glass or ceramics. But this pattern, the way ceramics or anything brittle breaks, is a lot similar to a lot of things that occurs in nature. Look at a giraffe, drought, pattern on leaves, cross section of garlic, even these trees. This is like one of the default pattern of the universe or something. Now, obviously, it would be pretty hard and computationally expensive to simulate the ultra realistic patterns like that. But this is where Voronoi texture comes to rescue. So, what is it and how does Voronoi texture work? Voronoi texture is a simplified version of the natural pattern we see a lot. Basically, the way it works is it divides the UV texture of the object into square grids, puts the point in the middle of every square or grid, and then for each pixel of that texture, it calculates which square grid it belongs to and how far it is to the nearest point, which gives us this kind of gradient. But this looks very structured and less organic. So instead of putting the point in the middle, we randomize its position in the square, giving us the exact Voronoi texture we need. Alright, but how the heck do we make cracks out of it? It's simple. All you have to do is invert the color, make it tighter, maybe through changing the contrast or restricting color range, and then using it as a mask for your object for another material. You can use the same mask to make your object a bit bumpier along the mask, and that'll basically big kintsugi look on your object. Okay, so before I started doing it in Blender, I also have everything pre-made and put in the description. So if you already know everything about it and want to save time, you can download it through the link. It is free on Gumroad this time because I don't think it was a lot of efforts to produce this. But tips are always appreciated, so you can put any amount you want only if you can afford it. But anyway, let's see how we can do it in Blender. Alright, now we're in Blender and now we're going to look at how to do it. How to do the kintsugi thing and the crack thing. So right now I think what I should do is actually tell you how to do it with the files that I will give you the link for in the description. It is basically free actually this time. I'm not going to charge for it because I think it is really simple to do it, so I'm gonna put it in Gumroad and give it to you for free. But anyway, in this video I'll tell you how to do it in the file, right? So that you don't have to do anything. So for now, let's just do it with that, and in the other video I'll give you the whole tutorial for it if you want to do it yourself. But with the concept that I already told you about, you can actually do it anywhere you want. But anyway, you can do it in Blender with the next video that I'll make. Anyway, so this is the shader I have, right? It is material, but you know, I can make it whatever, I can write it whatever I want. But anyway, it is right now written as material. So if we take this, it is already in there. So if we take this, it is already going to show it here. But other than that, let's just get a vase, right? Or vase or whatever. Right, so if we take this vase and if we want to put this material on this vase, what we will do is just select this, right? Just select this and we will change the material to vase. Material. Right now, as you can see, it has changed into this, we can actually go to material mode to look at better. But yeah, this is how it looks like. And you can change a little bit, you know, this is the base texture, the base crack texture that you can change. You can change the scale of it, you can change a little bit, whatever you want, right? But I would say that the scale is the most important thing. And this is the distortion in crack texture, right? And you cannot see what's happening here, but you know, it would give this kind of like distortion. Sometimes it's, most of the time it's not needed, but if you want any kind of like variation, you can add this. All right, and the third thing is getting the blobby thickness. So as you can see, these are the blobs kind of thing, which actually happens in Kintsugi art, a Kintsugi thing. That blob kind of thing happens because the cracks are like that, but for that, this is here, right? So more, all other things you can change is control the thickness. Actually, you can just make it really thick. It is ugly, it is looking ugly obviously, but it is up to you if you want to like change it a little bit. And if you want the really fine controls of it, like make it really thin, you can control it from here. So if I make it right really small, I can make it like this. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but you can change it, that's why it is here. But anyway, more things you can change it is, you know, obviously you can put your own material in it. So whatever color you want, you can have it here, right? And yeah, and the last thing is just this gold material, whatever material and whatever kind of texture you want for this gold material, you can have it here. So if you want it a little bit less metallic, you can have it here, right? Anyway, so yeah, basically that is it. And you don't have to think about anything else. You don't even have to think about this. If this works for you, then that's perfectly fine, but this is how it works. And you can get this file from the description, obviously, and it is free. But if you want to learn it, I will show you a link here. I guess it will be here, and you can learn the whole tutorial on Blender from this video. But anyway, see you there.